Are you really happy in the world?
Hello, dear brothers and friends. The topic I want to talk to you today is, are you really happy in the world? Happiness is not unwanted for each of you. Of course, you say to yourself, I sometimes want to experience pain. That's because painful experiences can make relatively happy experiences happier. For example, when you are idle, you can't feel happiness without worrying about anything. You have to keep yourself busy and alive. After you are tired, you want to rest. You want to do nothing but rest. At this time, if you will get a rest, it will make you feel very happy. You see, you still want happiness, but you experience a little happiness by comparison. All the differences in the world will make you compare. In a better state, you feel a little bit happy. That's how you experience a little bit of happiness in this world. Therefore, you are comparing vigorously. Without comparison, you can't even feel a little happiness. In the process of comparison, in order to obtain relatively good things, you are full of endless competition and endless labor. In order to get that little bit of happiness that results from comparison. In your cognitive system, relatively speaking, what's beneficial to you, you think it's good. Relatively speaking, what is not beneficial to you is not good for you. The standard of goodness or badness is set up by you and is still changing. You are constantly struggling for ever-changing standard of benefits until you exhaust your last breath. You often say, as long as I have a breath, what will happen to me? But can you really be happy with these endless efforts? Does this endless effort really make you feel comfortable? In the world, you seem to be alive, you are not living. You're treated as a machine, and you're constantly working hard until you can't move anymore. Is that what your life is like? Are you really satisfied with it? If you are really satisfied with such a life, why are you afraid and worried? Your fear and worry indicate that you are not satisfied with such a life, because it's not the life you really want. What you really want, the world can't give you because nothing in the world is real. You can't find truth in this world, just as you can't catch the moon in the water. How can you find it when you're looking for it in a place where there is no reality? You try your best, only end up returning empty-handed, leaving only more fear and anxiety in your heart, and more lack and discontent. To try to find reality where it is absent, you have been doing this all along. This is the evidence of your insanity, and this is the evidence that your heart has been deceived. You are deceived by the illusion, and you regard it as a treasure, fighting and robbing, and you have been playing a farce of contention. This will only make you feel more deprived and fearful. This will only make you more exhausted and dried up. Truth can't be found in this world. Where is he? He lies where this world disappears. He will emerge when all illusions disappear. He is always there, but the illusory world blinds you so that you can't see him. Only when you no longer take this illusory world seriously, when you are no longer blinded by this illusion, only the heart that has got rid of dust can feel the reality. The world is an illusory shadow. It never really exists. It is always the shadow of your spirit. The illusory world projected by the consciousness that are split from your spirit constantly beclouds you. You are blinded by your shadow so that you cannot see truth. In your guilty mind, you have created dreams full of fear everywhere. Your guilty mind projects its unbearable guilt and fear into the world. So how can you find happiness and peace in the world? How can this world of guilt and fear, which comes from your heart, bring you truth? The heart that has projected this world of guilt and fear insanely continues to project fear and guilt into the world and gets out of control. Because guilt cannot be dissolved, unsolvable guilt is the source of the existence of the world. Unless guilt is removed, the insane world full of guilt and fear will not melt away. When the world has melted away, the truth, which is always there, will appear. Truth is what you really want. Truth is what really makes you happy. Truth is your real existence. You always exist because you are created that way. God created you. He created you according to His own truth. His truth is your truth. You are no different from Him except that you cannot create you. He created you, and you are a part of His life. He made this assumption in order to ensure that you are always part of His life and that you enjoy all of Him. This setting guarantees that you will always enjoy all of Him, which is the embodiment of His love. He is who you are. You are inseparable from Him and will always be so. However, you forget all this and you are filled with ecstasy by a crazy idea, thinking that you have betrayed God and that you have the ability to create yourself that is not created by God. All kinds of worries come from the crazy idea that you think you have become the self not created by God. The removal of this crazy idea is your salvation and the recalling of your reality. All your thoughts in this world are metamorphosized by this crazy idea. It's your journey home to get rid of all the ideas that come from this crazy idea. Because your crazy idea created the world and blindfolded your mind. To get rid of them is the journey to recall yourself. However, it is not so easy in this illusory world. Thoughts are constantly projected from your mind, which requires you to practice your ability to perceive them. When they are perceived by you, you no longer allow them to act in a furtive way there. It's like seeing a burglar stealing and knowing that the burglar is going to move. What are you going to do at that time? Call the police. Who is the police? The Holy Spirit. Whether you can't call the Holy Spirit depends on whether you really want to catch the thieves. If you really want to catch the thieves, the Holy Spirit will definitely help you. If you don't really want to catch thieves, the Holy Spirit will not interfere with your free will. That's why distorted thoughts that you perceive can sometimes be reversed immediately, sometimes not. In this world, the real does not exist at all. The physical world is like a shadow. It seems to exist, but doesn't really exist. You simply cannot get happiness from here. The happiness you think you get is just relatively less pain. Happiness can't be experienced in this world. Happiness only exists in reality.
Are you really happy in the world? 2.
Hello, dear brothers and friends. Today we continue to talk about the topic, are you really happy in the world? As mentioned in the previous passage, you can't find true happiness in this world, because this world is not real. The world, like your shadow, is the shadow projected by your heart. What can shadow bring to you? The existence of shadow depends on the material you bring to it. How can it provide you with anything in turn? How can it bring you happiness? How can it affect your happiness? It only seems to exist depending on you. You project yourself into a shadow. What shape it is depends on you. You are its decider, you are its master. What the world looks like is up to you, and everything it presents is up to you. Because it comes from you, can only exist because of you, it has no vitality. You are often disturbed by the world and push the cause to the outside world. It really is. A pretext for convicting somebody is never wanting. When you convict the world, you are actually convicting yourself. The world comes from you and follows you. You think the world is guilty. Aren't you saying that you are guilty? So you've always convicted yourself. It seems that you were convicting the world, but in fact you're convicting yourself. The world comes from you and must resemble you. If you can't get used to the world, you can't get used to yourself. If you hate the world, you hate yourself. You reject the world and you reject yourself. You made the world didn't make you. You fabricated a world in which you can't be happy. Because happiness can't be in an unreal world. How can happiness be in the shadow? So you suffer in this world because you can't forgive the world. You take the world seriously, set many charges against it, and do not love it. It's like your abandoned child struggling in pain. What you project comes from you. You project what you think you are into the world. Your projections are full of conflicts, wars, diseases, hatred, pollution, poverty, mutual distrust, mutual suspicion, unequal distribution, and so on. All the situations you don't want to see come from you. You project yourself into the world, and the world you feel is you. See if there are any of the things I listed above in your heart. Do you have hate in your heart? Do you have a sense of deprivation in your heart? Do you treat everything equal in your heart? Do you feel hurt in your heart? Are there conflicts and contradictions in your mind? Do you feel that you are not pure enough? Do you feel inferior and ineligible to have good things? Are you in a pitiful state of mind? Do you feel inferior to others? Do you look down upon some people in your heart? Do you admire someone in your heart? Are there any people you cannot stand? Compare everything in your heart with the world and see if it's the same. The world is the portrayal of your heart, and you decide what the world looks like, just as the shadow follows the movements of your body. The body decides the shadow, not the shadow decides the body. If we want to harmonize the movements of the shadow, we must harmonize the movements of the body. The harmony of the world depends on the harmony of your mind itself. Therefore, the heart is where you shall work hard, so the heart is the object you need to change. The mind is full of crazy and insane perceptions. How can he project a harmonious world? How can he create a harmonious figure for himself? How could he possibly not make the world crazy and messy? Only when he changes himself will his shadow change. Therefore, spiritual cleanliness is more important than any kind of work. The mind has changed his crazy and distorted perception, and the world as his shadow is bound to change with it. However, from the point of view of a shadow, many people want the world to be a better place. At this level, it is in line with their level of awareness to tell them that changing the mind can change the world. From the perspective of truth, the only source of happiness, true happiness, can only come from reality. Your truth is the Son of God, holy and perfect. Only when you recall your own reality can you feel real happiness. So how can you recall your truth? As I said before, the reason why you can't remember your truth is that crazy and insane thoughts and perceptions prevent you from remembering your truth. The only way you can remember the truth is to stop your crazy and insane thoughts. Stop believing that you are really separated from God. Stop believing that you have betrayed God. And stop convicting yourself. Likewise, whether you want to make the world a better place or to remember your own reality, you start with the change of your heart. There is no second way. That's what I'm talking about with you today.